Good morning. I'm UIW meteorology student Khalil Ray, and we just have breaking news, a new update for Hurricane Melissa. Unfortunately for our friends in Jamaica, it's not getting any better as it's just strengthened even more to 180 miles an hour. Look at that pressure. That is the fifth lowest pressure ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. And as a matter of fact, this is about to make history as the lowest pressure ever to be recorded at landfall, 896 millibars, almost as close as it was Milton back last year. But luckily, unfortunately, this is just going to happen as it approaches land. Milton was just over water, and look how slow it's moving. So these people are already seeing that eyewall. That eyewall has already started to make landfall. So they are seeing the brunt of these 180-mile-an-hour winds. It's just not looking great for these people in Jamaica at all, especially on that eastern side, where you do have that right front quadrant that is bringing in that storm surge. So we're going to see some very high storm surge, possibly in Kingston, Jamaica, and other areas to the east of that eyewall. On top of that, you already talked about the rainfall. Could see isolated spots up to 40 inches of rain. And then again, just look at that wind. Man. Thoughts and prayers for those who are out in Jamaica, because they're going to need every single one of us to pray for them. This is just unprecedented. They've never seen a storm like this at all. And like I said, this is going to be the lowest pressure ever recorded at landfall in the United States or in the Atlantic Basin, or at least the Caribbean, excuse me. So they are seeing a historically strong storm, the strongest storm of the year on cross planet Earth. So that really shows you how strong this is. Those winds are equivalent to an EF4 tornado. So they're just going to be seeing some of those winds for hours and hours and hours at times. It's going to be non-relenting until the eye passes over. And then again, it doesn't end after that eye. You have that backside eye wall as well, which is again going to still push in some of that storm surge up to 13 feet. And don't forget, those wave heights could be 20 to 25 feet on top of that storm surge. So we could just see absolutely catastrophic destruction, not only at the sea, but as you make your way up in those higher elevations. We know Jamaica is a very mountainous country. So if you see some of those areas in those mountainous areas, they're going to see, as a matter of fact, higher winds than 180 miles an hour. Because the higher you go in elevation, usually the higher those winds could be. So not only are we going to be seeing just catastrophic street and flash flooding from those mudslides and all that heavy rain, we're going to be seeing that storm surge along the coast, which could push miles inland, depending on how high that storm surge really gets. And then last, of course, those winds, those unrelenting winds, 180 miles an hour, just got a new update in within the last 5 to 10 minutes. So it's not looking good for us at all here in Jamaica. Again, thoughts and prayers out for you guys. But as where it's going after it hits Jamaica, it is expected to go on and hit Cuba, also as a major hurricane, which could still be very strong just because of, again, the historic strength of this storm. And as we can see right here, you see that after it does make that landfall at 180 miles an hour, it is expecting to make landfall within the next 30 minutes to an hour. So I'll go ahead and keep you guys updated on that. But afterwards, even then, it's supposed to hit Cuba as a monster category 4 hurricane. So the destruction doesn't just end at Jamaica, it continues into Cuba and then eventually the Bahamas. So you do have some hurricane warnings out for the coast of Cuba, all of Jamaica, for obvious reasons. Again, this is just an historic storm that they are not used to dealing with. They've never seen anything like this. Let me say this again. Catastrophic destruction could be happening with this storm. Along again, that storm surge, that unrelenting storm surge, those winds on top of that storm surge, and those waves as well. And then just that unprecedented rainfall. Again, this storm has just been sitting over here for like the past 3 or 4 days. So it's just been dumping relentless rainfall over areas of Jamaica, including some places like Haiti, which are still under that tropical storm warning. And then Cuba, those hurricane warnings have been extended a little bit further to the west due to the expected path. And again, they're going to see possibly a category 4 major hurricane with winds of 140 miles an hour. Not the possibility that we could see some more strengthening once it does leave Jamaica. So this story is just starting to unravel. We'll continue to give you updates throughout this morning and afternoon, especially going into tomorrow, about this just catastrophic and very unprecedented storm. I just want to go back to those stats again. 180 miles an hour. Those are rare. Again, 896. You never see pressures below 900 usually in a hurricane, except we did see one with Milton, but that is extremely rare. And the fact that that pressure is going to be over land within the next hour that's something that you haven't seen before either, especially in the Caribbean. Like I said, this is going to be the lowest pressure at landfall ever to be recorded in the Caribbean, and just horrible for those people in Jamaica. They're just, again, speechless. Look at this storm. You see that it has not unrelented at all. There was no signs of an Eyewall replacement cycle that was going to happen, which is the only hope that we really had left for this storm to possibly weaken. But as you see, it's kept that strength. It's been a Category 5 for over 24 hours now. Not very common for that to happen, but you see how very circular and symmetrical that eye looks. And then you have those very central dense overcasts, those very high cloud tops, which are indicative of those very strong thunderstorms surrounding that eye wall. So it's not that's going to be the eye wall that's going to be intense. That's going to be some of those outer bands as well that are going to be potentially bring some hurricane force gusts and some very heavy rainfall. And again, talking about that storm surge going right into Kingston, you see them right on that right front quadrant. Just the worst part to be in a hurricane, as you do have all of that flow is concentrated right into Kingston, bringing in that storm surge and those really high waves. And then on the east side, they're going to be seeing the opposite effect. As a matter of fact, the water is going to be pushed outwards. But once that eye starts to move back out, or that eye moves over, they're going to start seeing some storm surge as well. So like I said before, after it does move over Jamaica at a catastrophic rate, and it's not moving very much either, only 6 miles an hour. I can jog faster than that. That's how slow the storm is moving. But thankfully, the storm is starting to pick up a little bit of speed. So hopefully that moves out faster than we could expect. And then how we always expect it to be, just still over Jamaica at about 1 o'clock Tuesday Eastern time, so about 12 o'clock here in San Antonio. And then by 2 in the morning Wednesday, expected to make another devastating landfall onto the eastern parts of Cuba before moving over to the Bahamas. And then even further out from there, Bermuda could be in the track as well. So like I said, this is going to be just a constant storm, something that we're going to continue to monitor over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, because the story does not end with Jamaica. Unfortunately, you guys are going to get the front of that storm though. And as always, as I said before, we're going to continue to keep you updated here at UIW Weather. So as always, stay tuned.